Hello, welcome back. We have a new day. It's Sunday. I'm going to try to read about the Aral Sea. The Aral Sea. It's 2 p.m. because I'm making some video in Danish about deserts. I will do it later in English too. I've already started. I'm making some video in Danish and English about deserts on the planet. But I'm very thirsty, need something to drink. I will cook hot food, chili con carne with rice. I will cook it. I'm always very thirsty. I forgot to get something to drink. I should read about Lake Chad. In Chad, but to do it, I think we have power enough on the camcorder. But let's start read this. I need a minute to do myself ready. Freezing. But it's not cold, it's hot in my apartment, so maybe I'm sick. I'm sneezing because I was freezing many days because it's very cold. I took the heating off. Then last night I had to get up in the night and put the heating back and hot shower and my electric blower. So yes, I need a minute to do my bed ready because I'm freezing. I have to get below my blankets. And I'm more thirsty, I have to check my cell phone. And more drink. Yes. Maybe my computer will crash, but if my computer's crashing, just start my computer again.
Aral Sea. From Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia. Aral Sea Uzbek, Oral Dengizi, Kazakh, Karakal Park, Aral Tunis Ural C1989 2014.jpg. The Aral Sea in 1989, left, and 2014, right. Aral Sea is located in West and Central Asia. Aral Sea. Aral Sea location Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Central Asia. Coordinates 45 degree N 60 degree E. Coordinates 45 degree N 60 degree E. Type indoor hike, natural lake, reservoir, north. Primary inflows north, Syr Darya south. Groundwater only. Previously the Amu Darya. Catchment area 1,549,000 km 2. The Aral Sea. /Latin letter ARL /ARL 4 was an indoor hike lake lying between Kazakhstan to its north and Uzbekistan to its south, which began shrinking in the 1960s and largely dried up by the 2010s. It was in the Aktob and Kaiserlorda regions of Kazakhstan and the Karakalpakstan Autonomous Region of Uzbekistan. The name roughly translates from Mongolic and Turkic languages to Sea of Islands, referring to over 1,100 islands that had dotted its waters. The Aral Sea drainage basin encompasses Uzbekistan and parts of Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Afghanistan, and Iran. 1. Formerly the fourth largest lake in the world with an area of 68,000 km to 26,300 square mi. The Aral Sea began shrinking in the 1960s after the rivers that fed it were diverted by Soviet irrigation projects. By 2007, it had declined to 10% of its original size, splitting into 4 lakes: the North Aral Sea, the eastern and western basins of the once far larger South Aral Sea, and the smaller intermediate Bas-Kelms Lake. 5. By 2009, the southeastern lake had disappeared and the southwestern lake had retreated to a thin strip at the western edge of the former Southern Sea. In subsequent years, occasional water flows have led to the southeastern lake sometimes being replenished to a small degree. 6. Satellite images by NASA in August 2014 revealed that for the first time in modern history the eastern basin of the Aral Sea had completely dried up. 7. 8. The eastern basin is now called the Arakan Desert. In an effort in Kazakhstan to save and replenish the North Aral Sea, the Dike-Koch-Aral Dam was completed in 2005. By 2008, the water level had risen 12 m, 39 feet, above that of 2003, to 42 m, 138 feet. 9. As of 2013, salinity dropped and fish were again present in sufficient numbers for some fishing to be viable. 10. Former United Nations Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon called the shrinking of the Aral Sea one of the planet's worst environmental disasters. 11. The region's once prosperous fishing industry has been devastated, bringing unemployment and economic hardship. The water from the diverted Syr Darya River is used to irrigate about 2,598,100 square mi. Basin countries list: Afghanistan, Iran, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan. 1. Surface area 68,000 km to 26,300 square mi. 1960. 1 lake 28,687 km to 11,076 square mi. 1998. 2 lakes 17,160 km to 6,626 square mi. 2004. 4 lakes: north 3,300 km to 1,270 square mi. 2008. South 3,500 km to 1,350 square mi. 2005. Average depth north 8.7 m, 29 feet. 2014. South 14-15 m, 46-49 feet. 2005. Maximum depth north 42 m, 138 feet. 2008. 30 m, 98 feet. 2003. South 37-40 m, 121 feet. 2005. 102 m, 335 feet. 1989. Water volume north 27 km 3.6 cu mi. 2007. Surface elevation north 42 m, 138 feet. 2011. South 29 m, 95 feet. 2007. 53.4 m, 175 feet. 1963. Hectares 5 million acres of farmland in the Fergana Valley. 12. The Aral Sea region is heavily polluted, with consequent serious public health problems. UNESCO has added historical documents concerning the Aral Sea to its Memory of the World Register as a resource to study the environmental tragedy. Formation. The Amu Darya River flowed into the Caspian Sea via the Uzboy Channel until the Holocene. Geographer Nick Middleton believes it did not begin to flow into the Aral Sea until that time. 13. 14. Ecology. Native fish. Despite its former vast size, the Aral Sea had relatively low indigenous biodiversity. However, the Aral Sea basin had an exceptional array of endemic fish subspecies, as well as the 3 endemic sturgeon species. Most of these still survive in the North Aral Sea, but some, such as the sturgeons, have been decimated or even driven to extinction by the lake shrinkage. Native fish species of the lake included ship sturgeon, Accipensa nudiventris, all 3 Pseudoscapha sturgeon species, Aral trout, Sumatra aralensis, northern pike, Esox lucius, Ide, Lucisca oxyanus, asp, Aspias iblioids, common rudd, Scardinius erythropthermus, Turkestan barbel, Luciobarbus capitoconnocephalus, Aral barbel, L. brachycephalus, common bream, Abramis brahma orientalis, white-eyed bream, Balaurus saprolensis, Danube bleak. Schulcalbanus chalcoides aralensis, ZH, Pelacus cultratus, Crucian carp, Carasia carassius gibelio, common carp, Cyprinus carpio aralensis, Wells catfish, Silurus glanis, Ukrainian stickleback, Pungitius platygusta aralensis, Zander, Zander luciopica, European perch, Perca fluviatilis, and Eurasian ruff, Gymocephalus cernuus. All these fish aside from stickleback lived an anadromous or semi-anadromous lifestyle. 15, 16, 17. The salinity increase and drying of the lake led to the local extinction of the Aral trout, ruff, Turkestan barbel, and all sturgeon species, and dams now block their return and migration routes. The Aral trout and Syr Daria sturgeon, Pseudoscapha chusfetschenkoi, may be extinct due to the restricted range. 16, 18. All other native fish, barring the Syr Daria sturgeon, Pseudoscapha chusfetschenkoi, was a primitive species of fish possibly driven to extinction by the shrinkage of the Aral Sea. The Ukrainian stickleback, Pungitius platygusta, was the only native species of the Aral Sea to survive its reduction and salinization. Stickleback, which persisted during the lake's shrinkage and salinity increase, were also extirpated, but many have returned to the North Aral Sea following its recovery from the 1990s onwards. 15. Introduced fish. The European flounder, Platypus fleecis, was a saltwater fish introduced to the Aral Sea. The black carp, Mnopherin godonpissus, was a freshwater fish introduced to the Aral Sea. Other salt-tolerant fish species were intentionally or inadvertently introduced during the 1960s when hydropower and irrigation projects reduced the flow of fresh water, thereby increasing salinity. These include the Baltic herring, Clupea herengus membras, big-scale sand smelt, Atherina boyricaspia, black-striped piperfish, Signatus abaster caspias, Caucasian dwarf goby, Nipowitchia caucasica, monkey goby, Neogobius fluviatilis, round goby, N. melanostomus, Ciaraman goby, N. ciaraman, bighead goby, Ponticola kessleri, tuberose goby, Protrorchines marmoratus, grass carp, Ptenopherin godonidola, silver carp, Hypophthormicthys molodrix, bighead carp, H. nobilis, black carp, Mnopherin godonpissus, and northern snakehead, Shanagus warpakowski. The herring, sand smelt, and gobies were the first planktivorous fish in the lake, leading to a collapse of the lake's zooplankton population. This in turn caused a collapse of the herring and sand smelt population, from which neither species has recovered. 15. Al introduced species aside from the carp, snakehead, and, possibly, piperfish survived the lake's shrinkage and salinity increase, and during this time the European flounder, Platydus fleecis, was introduced to revive fisheries. The extirpated species, aside from possibly the piperfish, returned to the North Aral Sea following its recovery. Herring, sand smelt, gobies and flounder persisted in the South Aral Sea until increasing salinity extirpated all but the gobies. 15. Invertebrates. Prior to its shrinkage, the Aral Sea had about 250 species of native aquatic invertebrates, the majority, about 80%, being freshwater species. The rest were marine invertebrates with ties to the Ponto-Caspian and Mediterranean Atlantic fauna. The dominant species, excluding protozoa, were rotifers, cladocarans, and copepods. Advanced crustaceans, Malacostraca, were represented by a single amphipod species, Diceragamerus aralensis, an endemic of the Syr Darya basin. There were several native bivalves in the Aral Sea, including members of the genera Dreisena, including an endemic subspecies of zebra mussel, Dreisena polymorpha alensis, Hypanis, and the lagoon cockle, Charistoderma glaucum, formerly considered distinct species Charistoderma homboides and C. isthmica. Native gastropods included Theodoxus pallasii and a member of Caspiohydropia. 15. 19. Zebra mussel, Dreisena polymorpha, a former dominant member of the sea's benthic fauna that has since returned to the North Aral Sea. Parthenogenic brine shrimp, Artemia parthenogenitica, the dominant crustacean of the South Aral Sea and its fragments. Many of these invertebrates had their numbers drastically reduced due to the introduced fish species. Later, during an unsuccessful attempt to introduce mullet, Mugil sp. to the Aral from the Caspian Sea, the rock pool shrimp, Palemon elegans, was inadvertently introduced to the sea. The shrimp is thought to be responsible for the extirpation of the near-endemic amphipod Diceragamerus aralensis, which now survives only in the Syr Darya basin. The copepod Calanopida aquajulcis was introduced to the Aral to replace the zooplankton species reduced by the herring population, and the North American mudcrab Rithroponopus harrisii was inadvertently introduced during this attempt as well. 15. Later, as the lake's salinity increased, many of the freshwater adapted species disappeared, only leaving behind the marine and saline species. However, the zooplankton population in the North Aral Sea has recovered as salinity has decreased from the 1990s onwards, with extirpated crustacean and rotifer species returning naturally via the Syr Darya River, at the expense of the saltwater species. The Cladoceran Moina mongolica, extirpated by the introduced fish species, has also returned. The zebra mussel, Dreisena polymorpha aralensis, has been reintroduced. In contrast, in the South Aral Sea only a few nematodes, rotifers, and parthenogenic brine shrimp, Artemia parthenogenitica, exist. Future prospects for aquatic invertebrates in all remaining Aral Sea fragments depend on their future changes in salinity. 15. History. First Russian boats on the Aral Sea watercolor by Taras Shevchenko 1848. Climate shifts have driven multiple phases of sea level rise and fall. Inflow rates from the Amu Darya and Syr Darya are affected by glacial melt rates at the river's headwaters as well as precipitation within the river basins. Cold, dry climates restrict both processes. 20. Geologically driven shifts in the course of the Amu Darya between Aral Sea and the Srikamish basins and anthropogenic water withdrawal from Amu Darya and Syr Darya have caused fluctuations in the Aral Sea's water level. 21. Artificial irrigation systems began in ancient times and continue to the present. 22. 23. The Aral Sea was part of the western frontier of the Chinese Empire during the Tang dynasty. 24. Muslim geographers, such as Hafiz I Abru, wrote about the disappearance of the Aral Sea in 14